There's something special about Tranmere Rovers, often overshadowed by their Merseyside neighbours and managed by their former physio. Nevertheless, they're making a strong case for a top 6 finish in League One, as Peter Stevenson reports.
So ferry cross the Mersey, 'cause this land's the place I love, and here I'll stay.
The ferry from Liverpool to Birkenhead will always be special for John Welsh. As a boy, it meant a day out on his bike, and though he now plays for Tranmere, he still is close to Liverpool's training ground.
Started there when I was 8, in the Centre of Excellence as it was then, and obviously gone on through the academy and all the way up to the first team. But I mean, I had a good football upbringing there, a lot of good coaches, and learned a lot from the players that were there, and really enjoyed my time there.
On dry land, the midfielders now having an equally good time, helping steer Rovers up to 7th in League One.
We're a lot more organised this year. We're conceding less goals, we're keeping a lot more clean sheets, and everyone knows the job. There's a brilliant team spirit there. All the lads get on with each other. There's a great camaraderie within the camp.
You see my tash there? Just zoom in so you can see it's growing.
Grooming a moustache for charity is one thing, but after 2 years in charge, Les Parry is delighted with his squad's development.
There's no reason it can't last for the rest of the season, to be honest. There'll be times when we have negative results and a string of them. But we've played most of the top teams, and there's nobody there that frightens us or has turned us over. Film this.
Remarkably, Parry's spent nothing on transfers, helped by the 2 big clubs over the river.
I speak to both managers and say, listen, we're looking for a holding midfielder. I need somebody to do this job. Have you got anybody? And having that sort of relationship is fantastic.
Even more remarkably, it's now 21 years since Parry arrived at Prenton Park as a part-time physio.
And when I first arrived, the physio ran on with a bucket and a sponge, and people will be thinking, nah, that never happened, but it did. You know, we used to have one at the side of the pitch. Physios used to boot the bucket onto the pitch when things went wrong. I try and stay out of the physio room because I don't like sticking my nose in there and asking any questions that Greg doesn't know the answer to. Because he's got the hardest job, because he can't tell me somebody's going to be 6 weeks when they're only going to be 4, because I know they're going to be 4.
It's a results business though, and the loser of the warm-up contest cooks the squad's breakfast. But don't mention food to the manager.
I don't eat all day, to be honest, and then obviously with a figure like mine, I must eat at some point. So normally my tea of an evening is, you know, you have to sort of, as you walk through the door with it, you have to bend down so the top of it doesn't hit the top of the frame. So I'm going to have to change my habits.
How do you rate what Les Parry's done and achieved for himself? You know, he was never a footballer, never a professional, was the physio, took over the club and has now got them up the table.
He's done. You can tell he's just got a really good spirit. He looks a really good guy as well. He knows what he's doing. It's interesting there. He goes and looks at the physio and he knows about all the injuries, so it's a tough one for the physio there.
And we've seen it before, haven't we? Nigel Atkins, of course,
yeah.
has done ever so well for me, but he played the game. And Jamie Pittman at Hereford, physio as well. So it's not unique, but you know, he started out as a shipwright, apprentice shipwright on the Camberlaird dockyards.
Well, they seem to like him as well. The players, you know, he just looks a really engaging character and a likeable bloke, and he's the kind of guy that you'd want to play for.
That is difficult, isn't it, Brian? Because I mean, you can tell us really that the dressing room can be a ruthless place, can't it? If they think a manager isn't, you know, cutting it, you know, players can drop you dead, can't they?
Well, if they didn't think that he knew what he was doing, they would absolutely cut him dead. But they know he knows what he's doing. He knows he's been in that job now for 2 years, and he's got them just into a great position this season. Like he says, you know, who knows where they can go this year? But they look like they really want to play for him, and you can see the spirit that they've got at that training ground, and that will take them a long way.
And you can tell the relationship he's built up with the 2 Liverpool clubs across the water, when he can just ring up and try and get a player on loan.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll accommodate him as well. You know, I remember John Welsh there when he was a youngster at Liverpool, so you know, he's still only 27 years of age and still got lots and lots of games in front of him. So, no, it'll be interesting to see where they end up this season.
good home form. You know, the Prenton Park is becoming a bit of a special place for them this season. Just that one win against Carlisle back in September, and since then 3 wins and a draw. So that's pretty good form, isn't it?
Well, I remember going there as a player myself on a Friday evening. We used to play on a Friday evening. It was never an easy place to go and win a game at Prenton Park. Good fans, so you know, that home form is going to be vital to them.
Yeah. Okay.
Tranmere went in search of the win that could have seen them move into the playoff positions, but Colchester proved difficult to break down. When their big moment did arrive, Ash Taylor didn't make the most of it. A let-off for a Colchester side looking to stretch their unbeaten run to 3 games. David Buchanan's goal line block prevented Magnus Okawonge from breaking the deadlock. By the finish, the Essex club had Ben Williams to thank for earning a share of the spoils. The Colchester keeper making 3 vital saves, including this one from Adam McGurk. The visitors drawing a blank for the first time in 40 matches.
There was so much in Chesterfield's superb 4-3 victory at home to Tranmere last night to put a smile on the face of every Spyrite. Mind you, no one was laughing when Tranmere scored first, least of all goalkeeper Ulla Soderberg, whose night was to get worse before it got better. And when Drew Talbot didn't get up from this clash with Bakayoko, Chesterfield must have felt the odds were stacked against them. But as Talbot began his recovery from concussion, his mates still on the field showed the fighting spirit the fans have come to expect now. By half-time, Noel Mendy had equalised, and Jordan Bowery put Chesterfield 2-1 up in the second half. What celebrating Spyrites didn't realise was that the fun had only just started. Chesterfield slackened off at the back again. Poor marking and goalkeeping helped Tranmere regain the lead, 3-2 with only 18 minutes left to play. What followed might be a handy pointer to what Chesterfield might achieve in the rest of the League One season, never mind the JP Trophy. John Sheridan's players muscled up again to beat one of the better teams from their own division. An equaliser came from another Jordan Bowery header, 3-3 with 10 minutes left, and there was no need for penalties. Craig Westcar, a thorn in Tranmere's side all night, bagged the winner in injury time. 4-3 to Chesterfield is how it finished, and with Bradford City already through as well from Tuesday's ties, Chesterfield will hope their terrific turnaround against Tranmere proves their season's turning point as well. Paul Ogden.
A surprise at Prenton Park. Tranmere never really got started against Cheltenham. Lucas Atkin gave away a first-half penalty. Darryl Duffy scored for the League Two side. Tranmere are contenders for promotion to the Championship, but they couldn't break down Cheltenham. 1-0 it stayed.
Tranmere started well against Sheffield Wednesday, and Jose Baxter had an early strike ruled out for offside. But the Everton loanee wasn't to be denied. This time there was no assistant to halt his celebration. With the home side in front and in control, there was a time that the Owls would have crumbled, but they're made of sterner stuff these days, and against the run of play, Chris Lyons didn't need asking twice to level. A half-time talking to from manager Gary Megson stirred the South Yorkshire side from their slumber. He substituted leading scorer Gary Medine at the break, and that proved to be a good decision. It was Medine's replacement, Ryan Lowe, who won it. A scruffy goal for the striker, but 3 more valuable points for third place Wednesday.
Been a poor month for Tranmere, who slipped to a 4th straight defeat in League and Cup, but it may have been a different story had Jose Baxter's header been a few inches lower. But Exeter, missing several first-team regulars, responded in style and went on to record their biggest win of the season so far. With 4 minutes to go to the break, Steve Tully made a burst for the byline, leaving the Tranmere back 4 in a spin. Eventually, Scott Bennett found himself in the perfect position to smash the Devon club into the lead. His first ever professional goal threatened to end a run of 3 consecutive draws. Danny Coles made absolutely sure by crashing in a second to increase the lead just past the hour. His first since his summer switch from Bristol Rovers, though, wouldn't be the end of it. With 12 minutes to go, a ball over the top put Richard Logan in the clear. The striker kept his cool to wrap up a comfortable win that keeps Exeter moving away from trouble.